It's another episode of Hobby Nonsense, and today is a very special day. I will tell you why in just a moment, but I am Jay Gibson, the host of the show, and it's so nice that you're listening, because if you're listening to this episode, you're going to get a little bit of everything. You're going to get a little bit of modern, you're going to get a little vintage, you're going to get a little TCG, you're going to get a little non-sport. We're going to mix it up a little bit to satisfy all audiences. So not only are we going to mix up in the content of cards that we're talking about, we're going to mix it up with the ages of our guests. That's right. We're going to have one of the older guests that we've had later in the show. But earlier in the show, we're going to have, and I do believe I'm correct in saying this, the youngest guest I've ever had on the show. Now, granted, there's only been 13 episodes of this, so it's not a big list to choose from. However, when I thought to myself, who would be ideal in talking to about non-sport, and specifically, let's go ahead and call it Pokemon cards, I said to myself, there's only one guy I would talk to. There's only one man I would want to hear from. And that is my 11-year-old nephew, Atticus Gibson. Atticus, welcome to the show, buddy. How are you?
I'm good. You know, I'm happy to be on this show for the first time.
Yeah,
it's exciting.
You are? Oh, good. Okay, so you weren't like dreading this or anything?
Well, not necessarily, but I was a little shaky, and I'm not. Well, I shouldn't say was.
You still are?
Yeah.
No, that's okay. Listen, it's just you and me. We're jiving, you know? We're just talking like we're on the sofa. We've been playing video games, eating Cheetos. Someone just slipped a little poot out, you know, just like we would if we're at home, okay? So don't you worry about it. We're just relaxed and chill. Now then, now that I've set you at ease, you're at ease, right? You feel better?
Well, yeah, like I feel better, but my body is like still shaking. So
I love how descriptive you are and honest with me. I appreciate that. The audience will appreciate that too, because guess what? Grown men do the exact same thing in your situation. So don't you worry. You're in a familiar boat. Now, I wanted to have you on the show because, excuse me if I'm misnaming this, but I believe I've got this down. Not Just Pokemon. Is that the name of your YouTube channel? You've made a YouTube channel and you do just Pokemon talk?
yes, but I shouldn't say my YouTube channel. I should say ours because I do it with my friend.
Wow. And humble to boot. Look at you go, buddy. I love that. You're doing the Gibson name proud, and I appreciate that. Now, who's your buddy that is on the show with you?
His name is Luke.
That's okay to blank out in the moment. When we're recording, I blank out all the time.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I should say like the last time. I don't know.
You're just going to call him Luke. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll just do that.
So you do this show with your buddy Luke, and you guys talk about Pokemon cards. And why do you talk about Pokemon cards?
I don't know. We didn't really have any other other hobbies besides like Beyblades and I don't know, doing video games. And I don't really know how to make a YouTube channel about Beyblades. It seemed like Pokemon was the easiest because it can be very diverse. And if you just do like Beyblades or something like that, then you need to spend a lot of money on Beyblades. And there's not many things you can do except battle them. So
are you getting any sponsorships yet from Beyblades? Because they should think about sponsoring your show so that then you'll talk more about them. I'm just saying, I mean, there's a lot of Beyblades talk already. I feel like they should sponsor this episode, and I'll give you a cut of it. So if they do, I'll let you know, okay?
Yeah.
All right, good. Now then, back to Pokemon. Do you and Luke both enjoy collecting Pokemon, or do you like playing the game, or what is it about Pokemon that you guys enjoy? Because guess what? You are the target audience for Pokemon, even though it's a lot of grown men talking about Pokemon these days. You're the ones that they're going after, the kids.
Well, yeah, I'd say we collect, we play, we do basically everything you can do with Pokemon except play TCG Pokemon Pocket because I don't know. He might like it a little bit. I just don't. I don't see the fun in fake Pokemon cards that you can't have in real life. I don't know.
You like to have the physical card in front of you,
yes.
Really? Okay.
And I will play like the game, but I play TCG Pokemon, not TCG Pokemon Pocket. So I will play that because it has like the real cards, and I'd say it just has a better gameplay than like Pocket because Pocket is like easier and a little bit too like easy to do. It's just I would say it's more fun too.
Now, that's an all online version of the gameplay?
Mm-hmm.
So I assume, is there any money involved in playing those at all?
No. Well, unless you count buying the cards and the QR codes, you scan them.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess you could say that.
Okay, but
no.
you can enjoy the game without having to pay any money for it, right? So what do you think about all these people that are like you? I assume you know that Pokemon right now is not only very popular, but it's gotten very expensive as well. What do you think about that?
It doesn't really bother me too much, but that's only because I collect my kind of favorite Pokemon cards, not like the fan. Like, let's just say if I had to sum it up, that my favorite evolution is an Umbreon.
Wow. And so because of that, you don't have to worry about the fact that everybody else is paying thousands of dollars in some cases. You know what, buddy? Man, Atticus, you're so well spoken. I don't think I could do as well as you are on this podcast when I was your age. I'm curious, what is your favorite evolution?
It's Sylveon because I like fairy type. It's my favorite type. It's just a cute Pokemon. I'm more into cute than just like cool looking. Like I would say one of my most favorite cards would be Sylveon and the Gardevoir tag team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was probably one of my favorites. And I know there's like many of them. I don't really care which one it would be, like which card it would be, but I would say I wouldn't want the gold one. I'm pretty sure there's a gold one. I probably wouldn't want it.
So you're more in, have you ever heard of the term or the phrase, collect what you like? And that's kind of the camp that you're in, because there's a lot of people who collect because of the value. But I feel like if you're collecting what you like, then you don't have to worry as much about the money sometimes. Like in your case, you didn't get swept up with all the Umbreon madness. You went straight after the Sylveon, which is not as valuable, but at the same time, who cares? Because you just like it because you like it.
Yeah. If I pulled and the best thing about that is if I pulled a Moonbreon, I wouldn't be keeping it. I'd be selling it because I want it to sell. I don't really want it because it's not like my favorite Pokemon. So that's probably one of the best things about it. But if I got a Gardevoir and Sylveon and it was worth that much money, I'd probably keep it, just really safe.
You're a classic collector, my friend. That is exactly what a lot of the collecting mentality is for people. And they call the other ones like the flippers, right? They're just trying to make a buck here or there. Now, I think there's a lot of people that also classify themselves as somewhere in between. But I like there's something very wholesome about people that collect just because they like the thing and they're not in it for the money aspect of it at all. And it sounds like you're probably leaning more towards that way. Now, when you start, like, when you go to the store, like a Target or Walmart, do you go to the Pokemon section? Do you try and get cards there? Or do you like just want to try and find the individual cards by trading with a friend or something?
It matters what I have like available. Like one time I went to the mall with, again, my friend Luke, and I had $5. I could either spend it on a pack or 5 $1 EXs. I was like, oh, I'm going to do the EXs because even though I get a pack, I might not get anything good or something that I like because I might not like. I think it was like a pack that I'm not really huge about.
Sure.
So I just got those 5 Pokemon.
It's a good lesson, I'm telling you, because it's like you're going after the things you exactly like. You don't have to take the risk, or in some cases they would call it a gamble, on buying a pack that you don't know what's in there. Do you think a lot of kids think the same way as you do? Or do you think a lot of kids are like, I want to find the pack and try and pull stuff out of it?
I wouldn't really know, but from most of the kids that collect Pokemon cards, which my friend ended up buying the Pokemon card pack. I wouldn't say he's in for the money, but he is like, I don't know. Maybe it's just like that one time. I really don't know.
Sure.
I don't really. It's kind of like random.
Yeah. You don't want to put words in his mouth.
Yeah.
But in that case, he bought the pack and you bought the individual cards, and that's okay. I just find it very interesting to see how the younger collector out there, the real, more honest, real collectors that are the children who are buying into these card products, how they view it. And they're not, I do like the fact that you don't care much about any of the other aspects of it, and you enjoy the gameplay of it, and you like the art of the cards that you like. You're not listening to what other people online are telling you, because you don't even have, you don't have any social media accounts, do you?
No, if I wouldn't really want any, because that would not be good. Even if I'm older, I don't really care. It probably would not be good.
Yeah, well, it's not. I can tell you, social media is the worst. But from, especially as a kid, but I love that you're not like worried about that, trying to get yourself in the know of what's really popular right now, because there are some new Pokemon things coming out. There's Journey Together, which I think comes out this week. And then there's a Destined Rivals. And inevitably, these are going to have some more very popular Pokemon cards. There's going to be these full art cards. Do you like the full art cards? Have you seen many of those?
I would say they're probably my favorite, but only like the really like cute ones. If they're just like a rainbow where they don't have many detail, or if they just have nothing in the background, like those like a full art Mew EX, but the one that's full art and it doesn't.
Like the bubble Mew? Is that the one? Is it blue? Is that the one you're thinking of, or is there a different one?
I'm thinking of it's a regular Mew, but it's like a full art, but it just doesn't appeal to me, because it just has pink in the background. And it's like, what's the point of a full art if you're not going to enjoy the scenery? Yeah,
make it like something colorful or a splash. I enjoy the fact that you're not taken in by these sales tactics of just because it's a popular character. You don't want it just because it's a popular character. You want to have some kind of something to look at and enjoy. Do you show these off to people? Do you show other people your cards?
Only really show, like, if I get like a really cool one that I think is cool, I'll show my friends that collect them, but I wouldn't be like going around to people that don't really know Pokemon cards and be like, hey, look at this $20 Pokemon card. I don't find the appeal in that.
What do you think other people think about like Pokemon? Do you think it's like when I was a kid, when it first came out, I was like in middle school, and there was this thought of I won't say I thought it, but some people thought it was like a nerdy thing to do, like to collect Pokemon cards or to play Pokemon. Do you think kids these days think that way, or is it really more accepted from what you've seen?
It's probably more accepted, because like I would say it has gotten a lot more like built up from like the past few years. Like a little bit further behind that, it would have been like, some people collected, but not most. Like whenever I started collecting, it was like 2020, and I don't think many people were collecting. And the first card I got was like a Lickitung. So it was just that. But now it's really like getting hyped up, and everything is just like Pokemon. That's like just everything.
Well, I was going to mention this later in the show, but there was an announcement that just came out. As of 2026, there's not an exact date yet. Lego has announced that they're finally going to start doing Pokemon sets. I think that seems pretty cool. What do you think?
I thought they already did Pokemon sets. I guess maybe, I don't know, because I did get, I think it was like these mini Legos. I don't think were the actual brand that ended up doing Pokemon. Yeah,
there have been other companies that have been putting out Lego like Pokemon sets, but it's not branded by Lego, so it doesn't have the same appeal. But inevitably, it's probably going to be very expensive, because Lego's also gotten very expensive. And to have two really collectible things and you put them together, oftentimes that ends up with a very expensive item. And so it will probably be a little time before there's going to be more affordable things that come out. But once they do, I know Charlie, your cousin, my daughter, she does love Pokemon, but I think she enjoys putting together Legos even more. So I think she's really going to enjoy it. Do you think like that'll be something that kids your age will enjoy?
Well, most of the people I know are like, they have like some Lego sets that they keep on like a shelf for people to look at. And I actually did do that with like some Pokemon some Minecraft things I just kept out because I thought they were cool. But really, not many kids are into Lego because, everyone now is just all tablet born kids. It's just like, yeah.
Tell me more about your thoughts about kids who are tablet kids. You have nothing nice to say?
I wouldn't want to.
You wouldn't want to?
No.
It's a problem. Is that what you think, though? There's too many kids that are just like on their tablets all the time?
Definitely. I wouldn't say I wasn't necessarily raised a tablet kid, but I did like play on my tablet, like a few times, but I wasn't raised like that. And I've gotten more like prone to do stuff because, every kid's going to say, I have nothing to do today, but they really do. And I'm trying to kind of cut back on playing on my tablet, playing Nintendo or something, stuff like that.
Do you want to do like more things like outside or just more like things that are physical, like you can actually hold in your hands? Well,
I would say I just kind of do whatever. I just do whatever comes up. Like if there's something I've been meaning to do, I'll probably get to that. Or if I want to, I could like ride my bike, whatever thing comes up.
But you have built up in your mind that being on a tablet is not a good thing, and doing other things besides enjoying some kind of form of play or entertainment outside of a tablet is the better way of doing things. Is that something that you think other kids are starting to feel too, or is this maybe more of an outsider point of view?
I would say it's definitely the latter, an outsider point of view, because I don't think many kids are saying, like, they kind of know. I feel like they know that's probably bad for them, but they're just like, it's fine,
I'm going to go ahead and tell you this right now, Atticus. Your vocabulary, like the fact that you're using the latter and you used it properly, it's frustrating because when your father and I, where your father is my brother, when we were kids, because we're only 13 months apart. I'm the older one, and I always thought I was the smarter one, even though your dad was in the special search classes and all that. And I always said, no, I'm smarter. But now I'm seeing genetically it's been passed on. Now, granted, it could be your mom too, but either way, you're a very smart kid, and now I feel like I'm being proven wrong that he was the smarter one the whole time. And that's upsetting to me. You're making me very upset, Atticus, but I'm not going to hold it against you. I'm going to hold it against your father. It's okay. I still love you all. How do you feel about that?
Yep.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Atticus Gibson, not just Pokemon, is the YouTube channel. If anyone wants to check it out, you guys are talking about Pokemon all the time. Occasionally you're eating dog bones. Gonna tell you, that's my favorite episode.
Yes, we did that once. So
well, maybe just do it again in the future. I'm just saying, you got my vote. But either way, if the people want to check you out, go and check out Not Just Pokemon on YouTube. And I really appreciate you coming over here. Thank your people, okay? Whoever set this up, I don't know whoever arranged this, your publicist or whoever, but really appreciate them getting you down here.
Yeah, I'll tell my agent, okay, aka my mom. So yeah.
All right, sounds good. Well, thanks, bud. We'll see ya. Well, there you go. There is my nephew, Atticus Gibson, representing the family. I feel better than I ever have in the non-sport community, the TCG community. So I thought that would be fun too, not just because it is my nephew. Yes, there's a little bit of personal family enjoyment there. I like to know that I can bring someone on from my own family. But I like the fact too that he is exactly what I think all of us are at heart, right? Like we're the collector of these cards. 9 times out of 10, we don't care about value in a lot of cases. I mean, like it's not the sole motivator. I think the people that listen to this are not the flippers, right? Like some of us are, some of us still do some flipping, but at the heart of it, we want to collect cards that we like. And that is where we all started. We started as that young kid who wanted to collect cards because we cared about the character, or we cared about the art, or we thought something appealed to it besides the monetary value. And someone pointed that out in the comments recently, where it's like, hey, you've noticed you've been talking a lot about the money involved with some of these. And yes, that will still continue to happen because it is still a factor of this hobby that not everybody's involved in, but definitely a lot are involved in the flipping game. So we have to talk about it. But at the end of the day, that's what makes this fun, right? To be able to enjoy it for what it is. And I thought it was nice to have somebody who has been untainted by social media and by advertisements and all that, at least much more so than most of us adults have been. So that was fun. Moving past that, we do have another guest, Jay, and I apologize because I have not yet figured out exactly how to pronounce his last name. Guiliano? Let's say I got that, just nailed it. I'm going to say I did. He is more of a vintage non-sport collector. Now, when I say non-sport this time, I'm not talking about TCG. I know that bothers some people out there, and understandably so, but it is, he really does have an incredible non-sport collection. Some pretty valuable pieces. I know I said the bad thing again, but it is, I'm looking forward to having that conversation with him in the next few minutes. Before I do though, one piece that I saw Courtyard had posted, there is a card out there, and apparently Evan Longoria, the baseball player, originally posted this. He has signed in the next Topps Tier 1, 2025 Tier 1 comes out, I think in June or something. I don't think there's a hard date. And I know we're talking about baseball product here, but he has signed this 1-of-1 card that is a bat knob, but his bat knob is a picture of Charizard. They're calling it the Zard knob. There's already $100,000 bounty on this card. And it got me thinking, because when I saw it, I was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. This is exactly what I do love sports. Don't get me wrong. There are some aspects of sports that I absolutely love, but collecting sports cards is something that I enjoy, but it's not something I enjoy as much as I do collecting some non-sport things. So when I saw this, it was like, wow, it's the marriage of two worlds. It's worlds colliding, like Seinfeld references. And when I saw it, it also made me think, I know there's other things out there. I know there are other non-sport and sports cards that have overlapped in the past. And I wanted to just try and find some to see what I might be interested in. And I just wanted to mention a few that I found, because these were ones that I am actually going to try and get some myself. I would like to buy some boxes because I'd love to rip some, but might just end up having to buy some singles. If these are some more recent one is like 2021 Project 70. This is at the height of the market, right? Like when sports cards boomed over COVID, that was one of the big ones. They were interpretations, like art interpretations of some very famous players. Like Tatis is in there and he looks like a monster. And there's just some really cool art that was done with those. Less of like a crossover of like some kind of like very popular IP like Looney Tunes or something, which we'll talk about. But it's still something cool that you can incorporate non-sport and sport into the same card. Then you have, going to Looney Tunes, 1991, I found the comic ball, which I think a lot of us are probably familiar with. You had like Reggie Jackson, Nolan Ryan. They were featured in some of these cards with Looney Tunes characters. Of course, you also have like Space Jam cards, which of course have Michael Jordan, and then the newer one, LeBron James. Those had their popularity at times, and some of them still do decently. So those are all very cool. But then I started looking back and I forgot about this. We talked about this a long time ago on the Sports Cards Nonsense pod, but it's the Marvel. It was 1997 Metal Universe, Skybox Metal Universe. Let me start this over. 1997 Skybox Metal Universe. It was the Marvel Metal cards. Now these cards are so cool to me because they incorporate not just my favorite portion of, I guess, the comic book world, which is Marvel, but it also incorporates my favorite sport, which is football. So you had like Jerry Rice and Spider-Man on a card. You had Wolverine and Eddie George. And as a Tennessee guy, I appreciate Eddie George a lot. So these cards are some of the coolest cards to me. And I cannot believe that I've got kind of just forgotten about them, because I did know about them at one time. But I feel like we as collectors, sometimes we get it inundated with so much new stuff. And then there's also all the old stuff we still have to remember. So it's easy for things to kind of get lost in the weeds. And that's one thing, several have reached out and just kind of saying thank you for bringing up cards, like especially when we had Rittenhouse on last episode, talking about some sets that have some hugely popular cards in them that people have just kind of forgotten were there. And I think this is one of those things that this podcast can do, is kind of bring back to mind, like, oh yeah, that's not a new card. It's not a super old card. Maybe it's a 90s card that's very popular that just kind of got overlooked in the passage of time and all the other sets that have come out since then. So those were a few of the non-sport and sport ones that have overlapped. And I talk about this too, because I think how cool it would be to have like a Pokemon and a sports card. And I feel like we're close to it, right? Like the MLB, I talked about this a little bit on the other pod today, so it's fresh in mind, but the MLB signed with with Pokemon to do these Pokemon Go gyms and battle rooms and things like that at their stadium. So like if you're sitting there in the stands and say whether you're into the game or not, you can still be playing the game there because they've got these designated gyms. But that was through a collaboration, some kind of partnership. And it makes me think, oh, could they do the same with sports cards? You know, like could they do something with Topps to create a baseball Pokemon crossover? Maybe it's just an insert. Maybe it's not a whole product or anything. I just think about the amount of people, including the players themselves, obviously, with Evan Longoria being one of them, but all these players who love Pokemon and they also love the sport they're playing. Why not do some kind of crossover in the card world where they both also have very popular merchandise? So something to think about. I would love to see more about it. I would love to hear what you guys think as well. So that being said, now is the time that we've got our guest joining, Jay Guiliano. I got that right?
And you got exactly correct.
I feel really good. I'm really proud of myself. I will tell you, don't go back and listen to the earlier part of the episode when I definitely did not pronounce it right. I was giving it a real hard G. I did not go with the soft one, so I apologize. But Jay Guiliano has joined me because Jay has been reaching out, I don't know, for a number of months, if not longer, after we talked about non-sport cards, probably on SCN first and then coming over to Hobby Nonsense. And you've shared some of your collection and posts and things like that. And after a while, I'm like, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. There's like a lot going on here. You don't have, like, your page is not this huge page of like, you're not trying to promote on social media. You're just showing off your collection. But I was like, I got to talk to you. And I'm really glad I did, because after we talked the other day, you are a man who knows a lot about non-sports card. Is this correct?
I know enough to be dangerous, I would say. If you were really going to categorize me, I'm like in high school of non-sports, because non-sports is so vast.
Now,
in that sense,
9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th grade.
I'd say, yeah, I'm a freshman. There's a lot more people that are more knowledgeable, have broader and bigger collections. But what I can say that I can add to the equation better than some of the other people, they may have more cards. I research more than they do.
Well, and that kind of goes in line with your day job. What you said, you are a patent attorney?
I'm a patent attorney, and my moniker, my day job is I kill patents for a living. So that's what I love to do, because it's fun.
Which requires a lot of research, no doubt, to find out if someone else has something similar out there. So it kind of plays well into your research of non-sport cards as well.
Yeah, and that's what I love about non-sports. It's so that there's closed loop problems and open-ended problems where there's really no solution, and that's where I find the most fun. How do you know when you're done researching? When you start getting back to the beginning of the research triangle.
Okay. All right. Well, let's maybe start our triangle. Before we start our triangle, I do need to address one item. You are a northeastern man from, I'm guessing, New England, because I'm seeing the Patriots logo on the shirt. Was this on purpose?
Yes, I was born in Vegas, so it's Manchester, New Hampshire.
Okay.
Um, and then I'm a transplant from there. I went to law school in Syracuse. I was there for 8 years. I went to college in Pennsylvania, and I've lived for the past quarter century in Washington, D.C. So don't ask me about what's going on in Washington right now. Don't really want to talk about it. It is what it is. And let's talk about non-sports cards.
Listen, unless we're talking about historical presidential cards, then yeah, I have no need to talk politics on this podcast ever. So,
Yes.
but that being the case, as I go through and look at some of your cards, you do have some historical cards, but the ones I'm mainly interested in, and it's by far, it seems like the majority, is the non-sport, specifically like Disney, DC Comics. You've got some Winnie the Pooh stuff in here. Tell me a little bit about your collection. Where did you get started? How did it get started?
So I'll try to cut it really short because I know we only
we
have
got
so
like
much time.
20-30 minutes
Yeah.
tops.
So I mean, I started collecting when I was 6, 7 years old. So that puts me in the 70s. Did card shows back then. But really, I collected mostly sports. And I would say that probably maybe 10 years ago, I started doing non-sports only because I love basketball, but well, Larry Bird had retired. So, at the end of the day, what else are you going to collect? And I like dogs. So for me, it was about dog cards and Disney because I like Disney. And so you start just opening up the rabbit hole of, well, what are the best cards to do for this, that, or the other thing in those genres? And that's what you learn. Like, I mean, I have so many weird cards. I have cards about fish. I actually have cards about plants. I have cards of furniture. There's literally cards of furniture.
Now,
But
the cards of furniture.
it's strange.
Tell me a piece of like furniture that's on a card, and tell me
It's a
why it's on
credenza.
that card.
It's a credenza. I have no idea. It's from like 1905. And you know why I bought it?
Why?
Because it was a card of furniture. And I said, I've never seen that before. That's really interesting.
That is very interesting. I would love to see a card of furniture. You know what? It is something cool to have a card of furniture to say it's in your collection, but it's exactly, someone made this post in the non-sports cards nonsense group the other day where it was a card I don't even remember what the card was, but that was their point. They cared nothing of what the card was, but they cared that it started with an 18. It was like from 1895 or something.
Yeah.
And they just wanted to be able to say they had a card from 1800s. And there is something cool to say, like, hey, I've got cards that go back, over a century ago and beyond. And then I've got cards that are even older than 100 years and they're of furniture. Like to say you've got something like that is, I don't know if in every circle it's a bragging right, but it is something kind of cool.
No, my favorite set, and I really went down this rabbit hole of researching it. So, and again, so let's start with some parameters. One of the things that a lot of people will talk about when they'll say, "Oh, you're wrong." Well, look, I will tell you what I know about certain cards, but so I'm going to tell you about a set. It's one of my favorite dog sets. It's from 1890. Now, I was not born then. I was not alive then. So, to the extent that I'm telling you these things, it's not from firsthand knowledge, it's from a lot of research. But that doesn't mean it's right, and I can be wrong. But it's the first color illustrated dog set. I'm taking that, it's someone else's research. I'm building upon that person's research. I love the set. It's only 50 cards. I don't know why there's not other dogs in there. And there's only 50, but you know what makes sense to me? There how many breeds of dogs existed in 1890? When someone says, "Well, do you have a what is it a
Like a golden doodle?" Yeah,
golden doodle. Yeah, I'm like, no, they didn't exist then. Like but maybe it did. I don't know, but it's not in the set. So, but
yeah.
that's the funny thing about vintage, certainly non-sports cards, and
Now,
that's what I find funny.
Do you like with not some of these more vintage non-sport cards that there isn't just like a book that tells you everything you need to know about them? Do you like the fact that you have to hunt and search for information? Like if it was more well known, would it make it less desirable to you or more?
I think I wish there was a better starting point. So I wish there was more definitive knowledge, because that way at least we could all talk the same. Everyone could start from the same plateau, and then we could expand the knowledge from there, learning about the cards, like literally looking at the cards. But on the other hand, I do like that this is uncharted territory, which is what I find more fascinating, because it's like, it's not that you make up your narrative, the cards make up the journey. Unlike
like
a lot of other series of cards, like football is football, right? We know when football started. But when's the first dog card? I think I know, but I don't know.
Yeah,
You won't
exactly.
know. Like, and that's it's that part of the journey that is really keeps you going, right? You want to find, and it's not the earliest dog card, but what's the best image of a dog? Like, some partial to Saint Bernards. There's some interesting Saint Bernard cards, and I don't really, I'm not, I don't really like black and white cards. Some people do. I want more color renditions of cards. It's just different.
That exactly. That's a perfect. I think you're already thinking where I am as far as the segue into what we talked about when we had or I had Ryan Nolan on the pod. I talked a lot about what is a rookie card, especially when it comes to vintage non-sport. And I think your interpretation of what a rookie card is something that I think I lean more towards. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, there's first appearance. There's where did it come from? I don't like the steadfast rule in sports, and I don't think it's really applicable to vintage non-sports. To me, it's really about what's the best representation of the character, the person, whatever the subject matter that is of interest for the relevant collecting hobby. I'll give you a good example. Um, and people will disagree with me, and I love that people disagree with me, and I will challenge them on it. But so Mickey Mouse, what's Mickey Mouse's best card? And no one knows. Like Mickey Mouse, remember, this is Mickey Mouse's the Mickey mantle of non-sports, right?
Yeah,
It's Disney goes way back. There's fantastic cards from the 30s.
Yeah,
there's fantastic cards from the 40s. Let's be honest. I own an abundant number of the 1955 Disney Barrett card. I probably have 1/3 of all the graded cards of that card, and in the top grades. So I'm biased, right?
sure.
Certainly biased. So let's start there. But so it's really hard in non-sports, and I like to steal from other people their ideas and lavishly copy them and permeate them into my thoughts. So the best way it was described to me at one point in time, it's Dave Lemon. He's got a fantastic collection, great collector. Ryan knows him. We all know him. Fantastic collection. And he succinctly said it. He goes, I need to understand a card that it's instantly identifiable within the set. So if you say 1935 Mickey Mouse gum is a Mickey Mouse card that blah blah, there's like 40 of them. Which Mickey Mouse card? You can say the 1931 Wills card, right? And it's Walt Disney and Mickey Mouse. Everyone knows what it is, blah blah. That's the Jordan of Walt Disney. And I'm like, no, is it a Mickey Mouse card? Or is it a Walt Disney card? Then there's some other more foreign issues, but it doesn't say Mickey Mouse on the front. So I like the card that says Mickey Mouse on the front, and I'm even more nerdy. I like a good story on the back.
Oh, okay.
And
So
then I
something
also
printed on
required
the
to
back.
be in English. Yeah.
So when you take all of those factors together, you found that the 19, what'd you say? Was it 55 Barrett?
55 Barrett. I probably have it on my Instagram page, but I can send you a picture of it. I like it because it's Mickey. I think it's the images from Fantasia, right? So it's that set is illustrating different movies. It's only 35 cards. I'm going to give you two more fun facts.
Yeah, please.
When did Disneyland open? 1955. It's just a coincidence.
Okay.
Disneyland opened in 55. I don't know why they came up with set when they did. Even Ryan will remember this because we talked about it, and someone on his YouTube video commented on my comment about this card and said, "Well, it came out in England." It is true. 1955 Barrett issued in England. It was they call it a sweet cigarette card. So literally, these things were put in packs of candy cigarettes, which is to me very, very, very funny.
Yeah, exactly. Would not be promoted today, but yeah.
Right. But the second interesting fact, and I haven't drilled down on it, but the Mickey Mouse Club was founded in 1955 as well. Very strange year for Disney.
Interesting. And that's the year that card came out.
Yes. And I'm not saying that there's too many coincidences. It becomes a pattern, but I know we're going down a rabbit hole. So you promised me yesterday that you would
I
not
would
let
cut
me
you.
go down the rabbit
I'm
hole.
sorry. I apologize. Well, it's also interesting, and it's like there's a point where I should cut you off, and I'll go ahead and do it. But the 1955, I scrolled down to the bottom of your Instagram page, and I did find that 1955 bear. But the reason I also was like taking a moment to cut you off is because I was also looking through your page because I was like, is he mistaken? Because I saw a 1939 Barrett Mickey Mouse card that was on there. So it's obviously earlier. It says Mickey Mouse. It looks to be in English. And it's like Mickey Mouse. Granted, he's got like a little bit of a costume on, but it's still Mickey Mouse, the one we're used to.
There's no writing on back of that card.
I was gonna. So that's what I was gonna ask. Why would we not consider that to be more of the card? But you're saying because the back does not tell a story or there's no writing on there. Okay.
I like the story. I think that's actually really important for people, only because you can look at the image, which is very important, and then the next is let the card tell me the story, not the person, meaning not me.
Yeah.
Let the card speak for itself. And that's what I actually like.
So you feel like the rookie card should be something that is determined not based on the time that it came out, but maybe more of how well it all encompasses the character or the piece, the animal, the furniture, whatever it is that it's representing.
Well, I'll disagree because I don't think we should have this notion of rookie cards.
Oh, okay.
I will say the important cards. I would say the important card of Mickey Mouse, if you want a representative sample of Mickey Mouse, there's a bunch of Mickey Mouse cards out there. Which one should you own if you're going to own one or five different versions? This should be one of them. So I wouldn't call it the Mount Rushmore, but I would think of it more of along the lines of a sample representation.
Okay.
Just like with Jordan, I would say, certainly if you collect Jordan cards, going to sports, I think you should have a Star Company Jordan. I think you should have a Fleer Jordan. And I think you can have something from the 90s. But you certainly have to have a Star. You certainly have to have a Fleer card. Maybe it's not even 86 Fleer. And you certainly should have something during his playing days of the 90s. And that's fair, right? That's what you should do if you're a collector.
I think that's a fair assessment. But if 1939 and the 1955 Barrett are not the Mount Rushmore of Mickey Mouse, what would be the Mount Rushmore?
Some people will say it's the 31 Wills. Mm-hmm. I think it's fair, very fair argument. Then people will point to the 35 Mickey Mouse Gum Inc. And there's card number 21. is a really interesting one because it's Walt Disney drawing Mickey Mouse, which is a really cool card.
Yes.
Then there's this foreign issue, blank back. I think it was in chocolate. It's card 53. It's a bigger format. That's a nice card. I just can't remember the year, but let's call it late. I think it might be 37.
Okay.
I might even have that on my Instagram. There's probably and a lot of people will say there's this Spanish issue from it's like 28 or 29, and it's like Mickey's Haunted House. It's in Spanish. It's all in black and white, and people say that's Mickey's first representation. I don't like the cards because they're black and white.
Sure.
And that's I'm prejudiced, right? So, it just is what it is.
So let's curve this a little bit. So we've been talking a lot about vintage Mickey Mouse, but, and just vintage cards in general, but there's obviously now been a resurgence in non-sport cards because Topps has been making new ones and producing a number of new ones. And now they're going to be doing that with Disney. What are your thoughts about like companies coming out and producing these new versions of these characters that you appreciate, you like, you've got in your collection, but they're all vintage? What do you think about this ultra modern version?
I love the cards. I don't like the price.
The price is what gets you.
Yes, because, and here's why. You can buy older Mickey. So there's a really nice Mickey Mouse card from 1971. There's others from in the 70s, and there's some in the 60s. But the price of modern day Mickey Mouse, I know they're numbered, but they're just going to keep producing more and more each year. I don't think the price is appropriate. It's not an appropriate value.
Now, couldn't you make the exact same argument, and you probably do, about sports cards as well? Because, I mean, you see vintage cards. Now, granted, it's not the same person, but we see a very similar thing where someone could be an all-time great. Now, granted, take out like Honus Wagner or a Mickey Mantle card, but there are some greats in a number of sports where their card values are not selling for nearly what some of these ultra modern, the $1.1 million Paul Skeens debut patch just sold for. And they'll have other one-of-ones of them that'll sell for six figures or more when, a few years from now, those cards will probably not sell anywhere close to it. Do you feel something similar in the sports card world?
Yes. And I'm biased again. I like Larry Bird. I don't think he gets the respect in terms of card value. He's got a nice 83, 84 Star Company basketball card, which is actually very, very difficult to get. Even when I was collecting sports cards at high school gyms I was probably in junior high, you couldn't find that card then. You couldn't find that card when I did. I actually bought and sold it. Card shows in college in the early 90s. You couldn't find that card. It was very difficult to find. The Skeens card, I would say, okay, I have a couple names for you. Brian Taylor, right? So he apparently got in a fight in a bar and broke his hand. Fantastic pitcher, but was a phenom. Strasburg, right? From the Washington, D.C. area. I went to see a couple of his games here. The way the ball hit the mitt was so impactful that you could hear in the stands. Like, that guy was phenomenal. Is Skeens as good as Strasburg? Strasburg won a championship. Strasburg won an MVP. I'm not saying Skeens is not a great pitcher, but you got to do that. Strasburg only played for 13 seasons. An actual success. I don't know what his rookie cards go for. I mean, you can tell me.
But obviously, it's probably not going for 1.1 million, and that's kind of the story why. And I will go ahead and tell the listening audience, I apologize. That's the most sports I've ever allowed talked at one single moment on this pod. So that's an apology right here. But the point I'm making with it is like, okay, well, it's the same story with sports and non-sports, but I remember in our conversation over the weekend, you talked about how in a lot of cases that comps, like the value of these non-sport cards, is really just a data point. It's not a card can be both overvalued and undervalued at the same time, but specifically more when it relates to more vintage cards. And maybe you can kind of point out what you meant by that.
Yeah, no, yeah, I mean, agree with the concept because let's tease it out a little. So the whole point is, I would say, compared to sports, because there are more sales points in sports, people can be more comfortable with the price. In non-sports, it's much harder to be comfortable with the price because there are less sales points. There can be a card that will go for 200 today and 400 tomorrow, and people will say, what is it really worth? And it's hard to know. I deal with that all the time. So I would say, for value card, right? There's a value of a card and there's a price of a card. The price is just the sales point, meaning it's the data. If there's 5 sales, maybe that's converging on the right price, but it may not be. We see this with Superman cards from 1940. I'll tell you, the 1955 Barrett, there really is no established price for any of them. I mean, I can give you a good example. There's a Walt Disney Nanina card from 1950. On the same day on eBay, I bought an SGC 4 for $200, and I bought an SGC 3 for $300. Now, people will say that is completely insane. And I would say, yes, I would agree with you, except for the fact that I want to corner the market on that because I think that is a great Walt Disney card. I own probably about 50% of them now that are graded.
Oh, wow.
Are there going to be more graded? There probably will be. I'm not trying to tell your audience to go out and chase them. I'm saying, but you're going to have to catch up.
Yeah.
And so if you see it from a data perspective, right, the price points point to one direction. Well, what's going on here? That has not it. The price point is just data. It's what do I think it's worth? What do I think it's valued at? And that's I don't know. We're going to figure it out, but we're not going to know tomorrow. We're going to know in 5 years, right?
Yeah.
It's not about today. It's in 5 years.
Well, I've noticed that a lot when it comes to like you talked about some of these harder to find cards, because I will want a card and I'll bid on it and I'll notice like, oh, I'm bidding what the last sold one went for. I should get that card. And I'm realizing, as someone who's just getting into, some more older non-sport cards, I'm realizing, oh, that's not necessarily the case, because now I'm finding I'm bidding against somebody who just bid almost double the price. And I'm like, why would anyone do that? And I'm thinking to myself, well, should I outbid him? Because I want that card. And I'm thinking it's so rare to see these. Like oftentimes you go to like Fanatics Collect or Golden or something, and it'll say like, pop 1, pop 2. Like they're so rare to find a graded version of that card that, yeah, the last sale was the last sale, but that was because maybe only one person knew about it at the time. When there's more eyes on it, when people actually see it, and it's like, oh, I really like that character, I want that card, and now there's 2 of us, that price may have been peanuts compared to what 2 people bidding on it would have paid. So it does really seem like and I'm sure you can apply that to some harder to find non-sport cards, but that's or sport cards, that is. But that's kind of the point, is like a lot of these non-sport cards, they're just harder to get your hands on.
And what I would say, that is 100% true. The hardest thing for non-sports is to understand what the pop report represents. And the fairest way to consider it is that the pop report represents the current submitted samples. So it could be a pop 1. And there might only be 3 graded. There's going to be more. Like, for the most part, it just happens to be that's what's been submitted to date. And so I think people should not have, I wouldn't say skepticism. The pop report is accurate. Don't go overboard. if it's a PSA 3 and it's a pop 2, only one higher, there's going to be more. Like, I mean, I did this with Einstein. And I would say this with non-sports, you can make mistakes, and I wish people would talk more about their mistakes in terms of buys. So I probably, well, I think Probstein has a PSA 8 1928 Einstein, and there's like 5 different backs of those. I know he paid, well, at least on eBay, it showed that he paid $8,000 or $9,000 for the card for PSA. I bought a PSA 7. I'm the second highest purchase price on a PSA 7. A week later, another PSA 7 came out. It went for 15, and then I think a week later, this is about a year ago. So, and a week later, it went for about 1,000. Now, here's what's awesome about non-sports. That's a 1928 card. It's Einstein. There's a 1924 card. I didn't really like that card. That's why I didn't buy it. But here's the thing. How bad was my mistake? It ain't Paul Skeen's $1.1 million mistake.
That's fair.
Okay. So I got, oh, gee, the card's worth half of what it was. And I still think the card's worth a couple $1,000. But you don't get whacked in non-sports. It's really hard. And well, let's not use names. The only thing where price and value changed hands significantly in a very short time was with the 2013 PMG cards from Marvel.
Yeah.
Other than that, I haven't seen sports like fluctuations like you did with Zion Williamson.
Yes, sure.
And that's, which is good. You have a lot more freedom to make mistakes and experiment and try things and buy what you like, because you're not going to get your head cut off.
Yeah, I think in fact, right before this podcast, I was talking to a guy who he does his own card podcast, but we just talk back and forth. He's been a listener of the SCN show, and he was saying how he's been doing more of this non-sport collecting, and he does a little flipping, and he's like, I think he was saying like 9 or 8 or 9 out of 10 times he is profitable on basically every flip that he does. But I think that's because he's also like not dealing with cards that could change by like a moment's notice, right? Like a player all of a sudden got hurt or they got traded or whatever the case. He's dealing with a non-sport card that maybe it's also not going to garner the premium that a big player would, but these non-sport cards he's finding are maybe more solid. They don't move as much. And you can find certain people on the right day, like we've talked about, where they don't have as many eyes on it. So you can grab it up for cheap, and then you find the right audience and you put it in the right auction, and all of a sudden it goes for 3, 5, 10x what it would have. I think that's what is really interesting about non-sport, especially if you're in it for maybe more of the monetary side of things, is there is a little bit more stability if you know what you're doing. Because like we talked about, if it goes from 1 to 10x that value, that doesn't sound very stable. But if you're looking at like what the card historically has done, maybe you know what a lower point would be, so you know when to get in, a good price to get in on it. I like that aspect of it, and I think that is something that people are starting to discover as it feels like we're getting more people involved in non-sport. Do you agree? Do you think there's more people coming into the space?
I think so, and it's probably under this. I always try to boil it down to human behavior, and so if you look at, there's a theory about blue ocean opportunities, right? So it's wide open, and you can kind of navigate it the way you want. And what becomes more not palatable, I would say what becomes more opportunistic for some people, right? So maybe you want to collect an item, or maybe you want to do the flipping thing. But the thresholds of what your decision points are become much easier to deal with because, like you said, the prices don't fluctuate. But here's the opportunity that you have. Just like with a sports player, the cards can go nuts, meaning they can just just go way up that no one knows why. Um, there's such a small number of people in each of these individual niches. Like if you think about sports, right? And Ryan and I have talked about this. I've talked about this with Dave Lemon. I've talked about it with a number of people. Sports. What are the top four sports? Right? Basketball, baseball, football.
Soccer or hockey, depending on who you ask.
Soccer, hockey, but there's a bunch. So let's call it 5 or 6. There's an infinite number of categories or niches for non-sports. So it doesn't really follow the sports pattern. What's more interesting is there's so many more different collectors. It doesn't take much. Like I always joke, I'm one of 5 people that collect this. And I'm probably not joking because it's probably true. There's probably 5 collectors of 1955 Disney Barrett. There's just not a lot of people that collect it. But when other people start collecting it, demand goes way up, right? And then price goes way up. So you can catch a wave. Now, in Ryan Nolan will even explain this with the Lone Jack inventors, right? I'm a patent attorney, so inventors are these famous figures. Those cards went last year. You could have bought some of them for $200. Today, they're $2,000. Now, who knows what the next card of that is going to be? Meaning set, and you shouldn't try to predict it, but it does happen.
I was going to say, I don't know how you would predict it because it seems like it's it seems like it comes and goes, something takes, but I think of it as whether you like what, some of these new modern card producers are doing with the ultra modern card releases. I think if nothing else, it is bringing more eyes on the vintage part of the non-sport community, because I don't think they would even really get into it if they didn't have a brand new something to chase. And then once they're in, it's like, these have been going on for years, decades, a century or more. Like, I want to know more about these. And I think that is kind of helping to bolster what we appreciate about the vintage side of the non-sports.
But here's the other thing I would say. You talked to the CEO, the founder of Rittenhouse, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was fantastic listening to that. And you remember, he's been doing this for 25 years, right? Let's just think about that. It's more than 2 decades. And he talked about, and I love the fact that they do on card autos. Mm-hmm. I don't collect a lot of modern stuff, but I have a Brady Bunch autograph set. I'm the only one that's graded it. Why? Because I like the Brady Bunch. Rittenhouse put it out, it's Rittenhouse put it out, because I'm trying to think. The one that Rittenhouse didn't put out was Walking Dead. That's by Cryptozoic. But what's amazing about what Rittenhouse has done is they've taken a lot of things, because some things can't, right? They said they started with Star Trek. You can't, the thing didn't exist. Like I can't get a 1920 Star Trek card. You know why? Because Star Trek didn't exist then.
Sure.
So for some of these things, you have to get like, I love ET. I have the number 1 registry set of ET stickers.
Oh, wow.
Now, which is kind of stupid and silly. I like Rocky. Because Butkus is one of Rocky's dog. He's had 3 dogs that he named Butkus. I have the number 1 sticker set on the registry for Rocky.
That's so cool.
Which is weird, but you can do that. But I can't get. There's no 1930s cards of Rocky because Rocky didn't exist then. So you can't stick to. There's no with non-sports. There's no rule that you can't have an exception to. And I think people really need to understand it. Like Jaws, if you want Jaws cards, well, Jaws, when did the movie come out, right? Mm-hmm. You like Game of Thrones. Like what's your favorite show, Jesse?
The Simpsons.
Simpsons. Okay, so it's 1990, right? 1989, right? Right. Mm-hmm. Well, you're not going to get a 1965 Simpsons card.
That's fair.
I mean, do you have an Art to Bart card?
No, I don't. Thanks for rubbing it in, though.
Maybe your audience will do a GoFundMe to get Jesse.
Yes, they'll have to.
An
Yeah,
art to Bart
exactly.
card. Yes.
No, it's a good point, and it is something that I think about, that there's less rules and there's more rules. It depends on how you look at it in the non-sport world. But that again, it's what makes it fun. It makes it a little more. I think we don't take ourselves as seriously in some cases. Granted, I know some of these discussions can get pretty heated, but in some cases, like, well, yeah, there's your reasoning, but there's also other people that reason a different way. And at the end of the day, there's not a real consensus on a lot of this. It's just like, we come back to the old rule, collect what you like. And that's what value is derived from, is, hey, if I don't want this anymore, do you like it more than the other guy? Are you willing to pay a little bit more? But at the same time, it's like, I don't feel like we're seeing as many like fights breaking out because someone's chasing the vintage Mickey Mouse card as there are like for new Pokemon or, new sports cards at Walmart or something like that. So if it feels like, hey, this is maybe a little bit more relaxed portion of the hobby that's a little bit more fun too, in my opinion, at least. So I encourage more people. Again, that's one of the reasons why this podcast exists, is to, I don't know, let people know about the things that they didn't know were there. Because, and it's something we talked about, it's like, I don't know, if I go to the National, I don't know what I'm looking for sometimes. I just want to find the thing I didn't know I needed. And that's what I feel like the non-sport world has provided me more of than probably any other side of the collecting universe.
I was trying to look for a card for you just because I think it's a funny card. It's in my Instagram. And it's a card. And I'm trying to find the exact title, but I bought it only because everyone always talks about Mount Rushmore. Yeah. So here it is. It's called, it doesn't show it, but it is a card of Mount Rushmore. So I bought a PSA 10
of that. Oh, it's the Mount Rushmore of Mount Rushmore.
Yes. And I bought it because I think it's ironic.
I love that, though. I love irony cards. I have a few of those myself, actually. Yeah. An ironic card is something that I think it can be valuable. And I'm trying to think of an example, but I've seen people collecting cards that are ironic, and they go up in value because they, like, no one thought they would have any value. They thought it was like a joke, but it becomes popular. I think of like some of these bowling cards, like the guy who Leaf put out a card of the guy who, I think his quote was like, "Who's the man? I am," or "Who do you think you are? I am."
Oh no, it's he's a great bowler, and the funny thing is, I should have bought the cards because my friends and I do a lot of bowling. I'm trying to remember. He does it's a funny gesture. He's actually Pete Weber. He is an awesome bowler. And we would do, before the card came up. I would watch on Sundays, watch him bowl. The guy is awesome, and he's very entertaining. And I didn't know the cards came out till after they came out, and they're already sold out. I wish I would have bought the cards, not for me to collect. I would have given away as gifts to my friends, which I actually do a lot. You know what I like about non-sports? Maybe this is actually it's a better topic, or more interesting topic, is I give away, like, people that like dogs and dog cards.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one show where this woman came over and, "Hey, do you have a pug card?" I'm like, I look in my case. I really don't. And then I said, "Oh, I do. I have a raw card of a pug." It was like from 1910. It was like a calendar kind of card. And I tracked her down. She was like 8 tables over by the time I found it in my box, and I gave it to her, and she goes, "Oh, well, how much is it?" I'm like, "No, you can have it." Like, that's the point. Because she likes dogs. I like people that like dogs. I mean, not sports cards. Maybe this is like time to shout out other, different shows, but not sports cards.
Yeah.
That guy loves dogs. I've sent him a bunch of cards just because he likes dogs. That's what's cool.
I need to know his name, because I met him at the National one of the nicest guys. And
Yes,
I promised
super
I wasn't
nice.
going to share that experience anymore, other than just say how enjoyable it was to meet him. But I love like his little YouTube, I shouldn't say his
Yes,
little
he
YouTube
loves
channel.
Star Wars.
It's bigger
Yeah,
than
he
my
loves Star
YouTube
Wars.
channel, but he has like such a cool collection of these like, I don't know, 70s, 80s, 90s movies and TV shows and all these packs. And I'm sure he's got some older stuff than that. But yeah, shout out to not sports cards on
Not sports
YouTube.
cards, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate what he does.
I mean, I watch a lot of his shows. I mean, I Instagram message with him, but I like he is. I just like I like people that are enthusiastic,
Yeah,
and he really is, and he's authentic and genuine. Um, and that's what's great about non-sports. It's hard to do that in sports, right? Because it's really easy to get down. Oh, LeBron had two bad games, or Luca had two bad games. Like these people, you know. Look, the good thing is, I love the Celtics. I hope they win every year, win a championship. But you know what? Doesn't matter because Larry Bird was the best. He's always going to be the best, and he won a lot of championships and a lot of MVPs. And I really don't. I mean, I want the Celtics to continue to win, but I saw Larry Bird play and win when he did, and now else is just gravy.
That's cool. I like that mentality. All right. Well, let's do this because we've been going on for a little bit. Share with me just real quick. Any like some of the biggest cards you've got, or some of the most unique or eclectic cards that you've got in your collection?
Yeah, and I'll have to send you a picture, or I don't know if it's on IG. The most interesting card that I still like, and I think we talked about it yesterday, is and I don't know if it's on the Instagram. If not, I'll post it. It's Superman meeting Muhammad Ali. I really just like that card because it's so. I just don't understand how someone came up with the concept. Let's have Superman and Muhammad Ali shake hands. Um, and I'll send it to you. I was trying to think.
I would love to see it. And in fact, well, earlier in this episode, I talked about the crossover of sports and non-sport cards over the years, like just a few of the ones that are maybe a little bit more memorable. And I couldn't remember why it got so stuck in my head, other than like, I did see this Evan Longoria Topps card that's coming out later this year with Charizard, a bat knob on the card. It's a 1 of 1. And I was thinking, oh, that must have been it. That must be what triggered the memory. But no, it was the conversation with you about the Superman meeting.
Superman. Yeah.
No, Superman meeting.
Ali. Yeah.
Ali.
Muhammad Ali.
Jeez. Yeah. All I could think of was George Foreman because we talked about him on the other pod today.
Because he just passed away.
He just passed. But yeah, Superman meeting Ali is an amazing card. And I love the fact that exists.
I thought you were going to say that there's an Longoria Cheetos coming out, because that would be then I know we've jumped the shark. Which the funniest thing, this is maybe a good way to end it. Remember, Happy Days, came out 70s, and the whole story about jumping the shark is when Fonzie jumped the shark on Happy Days, and it's like we keep having these moments certainly in sports cards, and it's starting to happen in non-sports with the modern stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think I'd really like to see things go back to basics.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
For the average collector. Most of us are not buying these, 5-figure cards. We're just not. I'm not. You're not.
Well, I think that my opinion on it is I like, so long as the side of the hobby that still exists and has existed for a long time, which is, hey, that's a card that I really like. I'll pay a reasonable amount for it. And it's because it's proven that person is great or was great. And it's not a risk. I'm not taking like a chance on that card maybe being valued at some higher price in the future. Like that side is still alive. I'll be okay so long as that does not die. But if they want to continue to pay, $1 million for a card, I'm kind of okay with it, because at the end of the day, there's a part of me that doesn't mind opening a pack in the hopes that I pull, the 1 of 1 Bedard from Upper Deck Series 2 that no one has yet to find, and there's a bounty of millions of dollars on it. Yeah, that I still want to I want to find that card, but I agree with you. I would like that only if it never affects the other side of the hobby, which is the more calmer and reasonable side.
Yes.
Well, all that being said, Jay Guiliano, thank you very much, man, for coming on, talking about your experience in non-sport cards, especially vintage, your collection a little bit, and just your experiences overall in the hobby have been insightful. And in nothing else, I just enjoyed talking with you.
I'm just going to push my way back onto your show. Yes. You're going to invite me back. I want to end up coming on a couple times so I can say I've been on the most times with Jesse. It's been great talking with you. So thank you.
Absolutely, Jay. Well, come back with, keep sharing more cards on Instagram and share them with me. Just send them direct to me so I know a reason to bring you back on. I mean, other than just the enjoyable chit chat. So
I appreciate Jesse. Thank you very much.
That was great. Jay Guiliano is just he's a guy like you or me. He's a guy who collects what he likes. Granted, we didn't really get into it, and I'm glad we didn't, but he's got a very valuable collection. There's some really nice, expensive pieces in there, but at the end of the day, who cares? Because he has some really cool stories to go along with the cards that he really likes. And I think that's what he cares the most about. That's what a lot of us care the most about. So, that is kind of the end of the show. I will continue to take your feedback for new episodes. In fact, this episode is due in part because one listener, a Bernard, and I'll just leave it at that, continued to comment on the episode saying he wanted more vintage. And that's kind of what helped push this one out. So thank you guys for the continued feedback. If you guys like what you're hearing, if you want to leave a review on either Spotify or Apple, 5 stars, never hurts anybody. You don't even have to say anything. If you just want to leave just a review, both positive or negative there, I'll just say it. But it all goes to hopefully making this a better program. I'm very happy to say that the show has its first sponsor starting in April, Courtyard, courtyard.io. So I'll be able to do more giveaways. It basically just a bunch of free stuff for you guys, but they'll be sponsoring the show, and I could not be happier about it because I've loved what they've done forever. But yeah, the show's continuing to grow, and that's thanks in large part to you, the listener. So continue to share it, continue to leave your reviews. And we do have the YouTube page as well that's continuing to grow. So that's all a huge thank you. So appreciate that. I appreciate Jay, and I appreciate my nephew, Atticus, for coming on the show today. Absolutely fantastic program. All right, guys. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.